morning. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully, you had a good weekend. We're back and we're here to recap the weekend, talk a little bit about today. I mean, there's just a severe, we're getting to that point, man. There's a severe lack of sports on today. We basically just have baseball, no hockey until tomorrow, no basketball until tomorrow. And we're getting close. We're getting close to it being just baseball, which is fine because it's nice to have just like a month of only baseball to kind of just charge yourself up for what's about to come. But once we get through the NBA finals, we'll probably talk. We'll still talk obviously MLB, betting, but we'll probably shift and focus on some fantasy football. It's a lot easier for me to create fantasy football content this year than it was in the past, given kind of the situation. So once we get through the NBA finals, we'll be talking some season-long stuff, and we still have baseball to carry us into training camp. Ryan, what's up? Yeah, we missed you on the streams, Ryan. Glad you're back. In terms of a recap from the weekend, there is a lot to get to. Obviously, we had the PGA Championship. Not my best performance in the PGA streets for that tournament. Pretty bad, to be honest with you. Bryson was in the mix, just didn't work out. Rory, I'm trying. I came on here today and I was like, I'm not going to go on a rant about Rory, but it's like, I don't know. We can save it for another day, but the guy just annoys me. Whatever. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, not my best performance in the PGA streets, unfortunately. But the betting card yesterday was great. Gave it out to everyone on Twitter. Went 5-2, and yeah, Ryan, to your point, that should have been a 6-1. Just monster day. No explanation for that hockey game going over. Under 6.5, it's 0-0 at the end of the first period, and it goes over. Just sickening. Really just can't even explain that. Saska morning, I can't explain that hockey game going over. Just sickening. Truly sickening. But to recap, PGA, I mean, shout out to Scotty. Big comeback win for him. Not really comeback, but he wasn't really, in the mix on Thursday. He just gradually, made his way up there. And then coming into yesterday, there's just no way he was losing. I know Jon Rahm tied him at one point, and then Jon Rahm just proceeded to pee down his leg. Scotty was never losing that tournament once we got to Sunday, and he had like a 3-stroke lead coming into Sunday. So shout out to him bouncing back after, kind of the whole fiasco that went on at the PGA for him last year. And then he, publicly spoke out about how he did not like Pinehurst, and he doesn't like the setup of Pinehurst. So he didn't play very well at the US Open. And then he obviously didn't win the Masters. So good for him to bounce back. I think personally, we are going to see just a historic and classic US Open this year. Jim, good morning. I think there's a very good chance this is a historic and classic US Open. Obviously, I'm going to be at the final round, so I'm really, really excited for that. We're going to have a bigger betting card for the US Open than we did the PGA. The PGA is my least favorite of the majors, which I think most people would agree and feel the same. But since I'm going to be boots on the ground, we're going to have a pretty hefty betting card for Oakmont, and we'll be hitting, 3 balls, matchups, all that stuff. I'm going to have so much action, and it's so great going to like those PGA events. Like your phone won't even work like half the time. There's so many people, and it's just like, it's so fun. There's just nothing better. I'm so excited. But I mean, there's a very real chance we're going to have Scotty, well in the mix. Bryson well in the mix, defending his U.S. Open crown. Rory should be in the mix. I know he wasn't this week, but he should be. We'll probably have another of like a Xander, Colin, John Rahm in the mix. Like this could be just a really, really, really fun U.S. Open. Did you see that 289-yard par 3? I did. Some of the holes are insane. I've went back and watched. I think the last time they played there was either 2016 or 2017. I think when DJ won. So I went back and I was watching some of that, and then a couple people that do YouTube golf content were at that. There was like media day for it, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So I was watching some of that, but yeah, some of the holes look crazy. I'm really excited. Probably will be the U.S. Open will probably have the most action I put on a bet until we get to football season, to be honest with you. We are live though. If you guys watched the streams last, when did we get, was that like last Monday? I think we gave out the NBA Finals futures. So we took Pacers to beat the Wolves and we took Wolves to beat the Pacers. And these are 14 and 16 to 1. So still pretty good odds because both of them are underdogs in their series. But we got these at like 30, 31 or 32 to 1. So we got some good CLV. I mean, Oklahoma City on paper is the best team. There's no denying that. They have been, but they just haven't played up to their potential. I thought they would yesterday, which is why I bet them, first half and full game, and they did cover with ease. But I think Minnesota's more than live in that series. I definitely think Minnesota could win. And Indiana, New York, I definitely think Indiana could win. I mean, Indiana just beat them in a playoff series last year. I do know Indiana's been shooting above their head, but I still think they can beat the Knicks. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It should be two good series though. We'll talk about those tomorrow. The first game is tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Minnesota, OKC tomorrow night. Rory's bad tournaments take him out of the contention. Scotty's bad tournaments enter the top 20s. Yeah, I do agree with that, Ryan. My beef with Rory, though, is just it's like he always seems to flip-flop on things. And like he always – and look, I'm not saying this is his fault because he is looked at as like the face of the PGA. So he gets asked these questions a lot. But I feel like oftentimes he gives opinions on things and then – will backtrack or do the opposite. It's just weird to me. Like he has publicly spoken about how like players need to be more available to the media and stuff. And then because he's playing bad, he just skips the media for all 4 days of the tournament. I'm not saying there's any problem with if you just played a bad round, you don't want to talk to the media to that day. I don't have a problem with that. But when you're Rory McIlroy, you can't skip talking to the media all 4 days of a major championship. You just can't do that. Like, you just can't. It just rubs people the wrong way, me particularly, and it's why I don't want to say I dislike him, but I'm just not the biggest fan of him, and I will often root against him when when he's in the mix. But it was cool seeing him win the Masters. I'm not denying that. I'm not trying to be a hater, but it's just I don't like the way he goes about things sometimes. It just rubs me the wrong way, and it's why I will, often root against him. But to your point, yeah, like he can have bad tournaments and not even really be in the mix. Scotty, at least for the last 2 years, does seem to always be in the mix. The U.S. Open is the one time which I was there. We watched Scotty in the morning. That's the one time I can remember Scotty not really being in the mix. And I mean, he publicly spoke out about he doesn't like the setup of Pinehurst. So it's not shocking. I want to see. What was that? 2024. Let me see where he finished. Because he went off early on Sunday morning. I remember. Yeah, he finished tied for 41st at the U.S. Open. He was 8 over. And I don't know. He just didn't like the course, I guess. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. We're about a month away from the US Open. So should be pretty fun. Basketball, like I said, we can talk basketball tomorrow. We could talk hockey tomorrow, and then I'm sure Steve, if you guys have been tuning into the Wednesday stream, Steve's been coming on, so we can talk some NHL with him on Wednesday. If you guys missed last week's stream as well, if you want access to the AI coach bot that we have put in the SportWise Rolling Insights data spaces, if you want early access to that and you want to play around with it, reach out to me. Give me your email for Rolling Insights, your free account email, and I will get you access to that. We have made a lot of progress with the tool, and it's been really fun to play around with. I was using it over the weekend, playing around with some stuff, and we'll show it off some more on Wednesday. But if you guys want early access to that, just let me know. Do you think the NBA should intervene with these injuries? Yeah, so Guru, I saw your earlier comment about there hasn't been a ton of playoff injuries, which I agree with. That's been great. We're getting these teams at full strength, which is really fun. And I do think, Guru, to be honest with you, I do think they could do 2 days in between games. And I feel like the consensus, between these like older NBA fans are that, I don't know. I feel like they act like these old guys used to play back-to-backs and stuff, which they did during the regular season, but the playoffs were still pretty spread out. Like if I'm looking at, it was every other day, I guess, in the finals. Let's look at like 1989 finals, 6th, 8th, 11th, 13th. I guess that was like every other day. I don't know. But I wouldn't have any issue. Rahan, what's up? I hope that's how you say your name. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that like people don't take this the wrong way, but I do think they could do two days in between games to help prevent that. But it was unfortunate Aaron Gordon got hurt. I'm not sure if it really would have made a difference. Not saying that the Thunder, weren't kind of struggling at times. They were, but I feel like Denver was just out of gas. And that's why I was so heavy betting the Thunder yesterday. Even if they would have had a healthy Aaron Gordon, it was like, the Nuggets were coming off a 7-game series against the Clippers, which was really tough. And then, they're another 7-game series. Like, it's just kind of like they were out of gas. Yes, I do remember you from the UK. Thank you for tuning in again. Well, welcome back. If you guys in the chat don't remember, our friend from the UK found us. I don't remember how you found us. You just randomly found us one day and tuned in, but welcome back. I meant like getting the okay to play when he was hurt. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think he should have played, to be honest with you. I'm surprised, like, to be honest, Guru, I am surprised that he was. I don't want to say he was effective because they got destroyed. But the fact that he played 25 minutes and had 11 rebounds, and look, if you look at the players on the court, Nikola Jokic was minus 23 yesterday in yesterday's game. Jamal Murray was minus 21. Jamal Murray was terrible yesterday. So bad. Christian Brown was a minus 28. Russell Westbrook was minus 34. Just terrible performance. I was listening. Wait, okay. Before I get sidetracked, let me continue with this thought, Guru. Aaron Gordon was only a minus 9 in his 25 minutes. To be able to even play 25 minutes on that injury is crazy because I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was last year, the Knicks in the playoffs, OG Anunoby had a really bad hamstring, and then he tried to play on it, and he played like 10 minutes and never came back in. He couldn't even move. Aaron Gordon was getting like 11 rebounds. He tied for the lead of rebounds in the game. That's crazy. I can't believe he was as effective as he was. That was a pretty incredible performance, if you ask me, from Aaron Gordon, but he probably shouldn't have played. Jalen Williams did have a great game, agree. And that was big for him, like really struggled in that game 6. And that was a big bounce back for him. 2 of 5 from 3. Shot really well from the floor. Has scored 24 points and 7 assists as well. Really, really strong game. They're going to need that from him against, the Wolves if they want to get to the finals. Yeah, I do think so. I don't know what your opinion is on this. I think Jokic should still win MVP just because I think he's the best player. But I think Jokic should win. But I do think in reality, I think SGA will win definitely. I still find it weird they haven't announced the winner. I don't really know what they're waiting on, but yeah. To my earlier point, so I was driving in the car yesterday morning. I don't remember where I was going, but I was driving the car, and I always like to turn on, like ESPN radio just to laugh at whatever, the people on there are talking about. I want to say it was Jay Williams that said this yesterday, but I could be wrong. Because I had just turned the radio on and it just sounded like Jay Williams. So I'm just going to assume it was Jay Williams. The most insane take, as you guys know, I had a bet on the Thunder -5 and the Thunder -8.5. I thought it was going to be, I texted my friend Thunder by 15 plus, 2 hours before the game. I didn't think this was going to be close. Jay Williams on ESPN radio yesterday said that Russell Westbrook was going to play the game of his life and exact revenge on the Oklahoma City Thunder and send them home. Jay Williams actually said that. And then Russell Westbrook proceeded to have 6 points in 22 minutes and was -34 on the court. Just truly a hilarious take from Jay Williams. Yeah, I do agree. Like, it kind of felt like they were waiting till after this series to hand out the MVP, and it'll probably just go to SGA. But I don't know how you can argue like Jokic. Like, people will be like, "Oh, SGA." Like, Jokic has better stats. I don't understand this. Like, if I watch the game, Jokic is the best player in the NBA right now. And then if I look at the numbers, he has the best numbers. What is the argument for SGA other than their team is better? But I mean, are we going to really sit here and act like the Thunder and the Nuggets roster is remotely comparable? My Warriors got eliminated. Yeah. So I don't think you've been in the stream in a while, but I had title futures on the Warriors. And I actually thought, like, up until Curry getting hurt, I thought that the Warriors were going to go to the finals. Like, I was dead set on this. And I still think they would have. If Steph Curry did not get hurt, I think they would have beat the Wolves. It's like the Lamar argument. We could give it to Lamar. Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. I just don't think, like, just because the Thunder are the number 1 seed, I don't really think that should impact things. Like, the Thunder's roster is loaded. Like, look at the Nuggets. The Nuggets took Jokic out of the game yesterday, and their Thunder went on a 13-0 run in like 82 seconds. Any home run picks today? Yeah, we'll definitely find one. There's just nothing. I'm so sad that there's like really nothing to talk about tonight. We do have some baseball games. I don't really love anything though for betting. I do like the over in this Angels game tonight. I took this at -115. It's -118. But we can definitely find a home run pick. Yeah, the Celtics are kind of screwed, I think. So I said this last week. I think there's a chance that the Celtics, assuming Jason Tatum doesn't play for the entire season with a torn Achilles, there's a chance that the Celtics are like a play-in team next year because they're going to have to move Porzingis. They're going to have to move Drew Holiday. There's a greater than 50% chance that Al Horford retires. And they'll still have Derek White and Jaylen Brown, but they don't. Well, who else do they have? Like, Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard, the fake sixth man of the year. I don't know. There's a very good chance with no Tatum that the Celtics are like a play-in team next year. I'm completely comfortable saying that. Can the Warriors get Porzingis? Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see what moves the Warriors make. I think personally, Porzingis getting traded I think he would fit better getting traded to a bad team just because he costs a lot of money. I think his contract's in like the 30 million range and it's an expiring contract. So I think a bad team would be more inclined to take him on as opposed to like the Warriors. Like I feel like a team like the Raptors or the Charlotte Hornets, something like that, they would be more inclined to take that expiring contract from the Celtics as opposed to like a good team. I think Pritchard should have won sixth man. I just think it's funny. Like, I think like the Celtics, like, I think they like made a goal, like we're gonna get Peyton Pritchard sixth man, and they just tried to do that. Like, I think that was the goal of their season was to get Peyton Pritchard six man. So when I say the fake six man, I don't think he shouldn't have won, but I just think it's funny that it seemed like that was like their entire goal of the season. Golden State needs to get back to trying to get Markkanen. I wish they would have got him before last season. Although if they would have did that, they wouldn't have got Jimmy Butler. So it's kind of like an interesting conversation. Like, would they have been better off trading for Lauri or doing the Butler trade? I don't know. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Butler trade when it happened. I'm sure you guys remember that. Like they're kind of like they need to win like now. Like they need to win like next year for that to be a good deal. I just wish Curry wouldn't have got hurt, man. We got robbed. Porzingis to Detroit for Beasley and Duren. Yeah, I could see something like that. I think so. Looking at like I'm going to be very curious what the Warriors do in the offseason. I'm going to be very curious what the Pistons do. Like these teams that made the playoffs and kind of did well, but not well enough to win. I'm curious to see some moves that get made. Cavs, Pistons, Warriors, Houston Rockets. Those are like four teams. Obviously, Milwaukee with Giannis, I would say pretty likely getting moved. Teams I do think would be interested in Kuminga Guru. I don't know if the Warriors want to trade him though. I don't know if you saw that comment from Steve Kerr where he said like basically he told Kuminga when we get back here next year, you're not going to pass up any more shots. I don't know. I don't know if they want to trade him. If I were the Cavs, I would do. I don't know how you say no to Mobley for Giannis. If from a Cavs perspective, I don't know how you say no to that. Would the Bucks do it? I'm not sure. I mean, we kind of talked about it. If OKC is not going to get in the Giannis race, and if San Antonio is not going to get in the Giannis race, well, I say OKC because obviously they have picks and young players. San Antonio has the number 2 overall pick that they could move. So if we take those two teams out of the equation, that kind of narrows you down to Brooklyn, the Knicks, and I've been adamant. I don't see why the Bucks would take a trade from the Knicks. Getting Towns and like Bridges is it's just not gonna do anything for them. They stink and they have no picks. So that would say Brooklyn's the most likely destination, getting some picks back. But would you rather have picks or a guaranteed good young player that just won Defensive Player of the Year? That is a question. That is a question. I don't know. If I were the Cavs, I would take Giannis for Mobley all day, and they need to shake stuff up anyways. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. The Cavs need to make some moves, though, most definitely. Nico Harrison's the type of guy to trade the number 1 overall pick. He is, but I don't think he's going to. He got so bailed out by getting that pick. Yeah, I don't think he's going to. The Spurs trading that number 2 pick and like Vassell or Castle or something for Giannis, I wish that would happen. Could you imagine Giannis, Wemby, and like De'Aaron Fox? Just actually insane. I agree, it's rigged. A lot of people think it's not. It's just like it's fun to like say it is rigged, so I'm just gonna say it is. And I am anti sports conspiracy, to be honest with you, but the NBA lottery is one thing that you could sell me on being rigged. I saw that report that Giannis was most likely to go to another Eastern Conference team, but I'm going to hold out hope that he goes to the Spurs. I think that'd be really fun. And watching, if we got that version of the Spurs, of a Wemby, Giannis, Fox Spurs team against this Thunder team in a playoff series, I think that would be so fun. Assuming Wemby could, stay healthy for an entire season, which I think is a legitimate question mark at this point. I don't know if the Warriors could afford him. I would have to look at that. I'm not sure. On just reactionary to that, I would say probably not. Probably not. All right. So for baseball today, I like the over in this Angels A's game, and we've kind of been looking at these overs in this ballpark, or just offensive props in this ballpark quite a bit since the A's moved. So I think we could look at something there. I want to look at Soriano a little bit and see what he's been doing. Pretty mid stats, to be quite honest with you. 4.31 expected ERA. Double-digit walks. 48% hard hit rate allowed. He throws a lot of sinkers, almost 50% of the time. So let's look at the A's expected stats first. That's not the A's. Brent Rooker still leading the team. 326 WOBA, 376 expected. Soderstrom as well. So it's really like those two are kind of what we would be looking at here. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a good night. I think it's nighttime there, not here. It's day, so I think it's night there. Anyways, Brent Rooker and Soderstrom, kind of the two guys that we would be looking at here. Brent Rooker against sinkers. Last year, huge splits. 444 batting average, 360 expected batting average, 60% hard hit rate. Huge splits this year as well. So let's see. Do we have any BVP? Not that I care, but just for fun. 3 for 5 with a double and a home run. All right. So Brent Rooker immediately is interesting to me. At plus 350 for a home run. Oh, 4:30 p.m. there. Interesting. I guess that makes sense. Brent Rooker home run. Who was Ryan? Were you looking for that King of the Diamond? Definitely Brent Rooker sticks out, and I like the over in this game as it is. Looking at some other spots and just pitchers in general, I think we could pick on Logan Allen. I would be a little bit interested. Twins have been red hot too. Let's look at Logan Allen. Oh, also, not that any of you care, but I'm going to share this anyways. I have acquired tickets for the Cleveland Guardians play the Dodgers a week from today. They play like Memorial Day, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So Tuesday night, I will be seeing Shohei Ohtani in person for the first time, and I am extremely excited. I can't wait. First time seeing Ohtani in person, assuming he plays, hopefully he does, is going to be awesome. But let's see. Logan Allen, pretty Yeah, I mean, nothing crazy. Dean Creamer has had pretty bad stats, but he's been a little bit unlucky. Houston Tampa has a 9 total. Mets Red Sox has a 9 total. Let's see. Edward Cabrera has been pretty bad. Edward Cabrera throws a sinker too, and it has pretty bad numbers. So let's look at the Cubs a little bit. So we'll go expected stats for Chicago. No shocker, Kyle Tucker leading the team there in expected WOBA at 404. Pete Crow Armstrong has obviously been on fire as well as of late. So I'm sure you're not really going to get any good value on those guys, but just for fun, get Kyle Tucker against sinkers. Last year, 325 batting average, 50% hard hit rate this year. 409 batting average, good stats there. So we could look at maybe Kyle Tucker. If you don't want to take home, I mean, he's 4-1, or we could look at hits, runs, RBIs as well. Not on there yet, but something along those lines looks interesting to me. Brent Rooker definitely is a play for me tonight. But yeah, overall, not much to talk about today in the baseball streets, and then no basketball, no hockey. Kind of a boring day, but kind of a light day for me in terms of betting. But we'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m., same time, same place. We'll recap today, and we will preview the NBA stuff tomorrow. We'll probably talk a little NHL as well, but big NBA preview tomorrow. Good luck with your how does Freeman look? I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and just say typically fine. Like, I never really have an issue with Freddie Freeman. And then Brandon Pfaadt, I mean, we know he struggles against lefties at times, so I would have no issues with him or Ohtani. I think that'd be fine. Rooker is definitely my favorite if I was picking one, though. But thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck with your bets tonight. Fantasy, sports, DFS, all that stuff. And I'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m.